kind of interesting. I've seen some guys some players that I've seen before. I've seen some improvement in some, and I've seen some regression in others. But I think overall, I think this is a good camp. It'll showcase their talent. Well, I think a lot of times now the younger guys have a lot of them have a higher skill level than in the past. However, the game is still played with 5 people working together, and you know, that's how it's always going to be played. Now, you might have better individual skills, but you need team cohesion. You need people playing together, being on the same page at the same time. You talked about Oklahoma City and Miami. Sometimes you can see that LeBron and Dwayne Wade aren't on the same page, you know, because they have 2 different skill sets individually. But when they're on the same page, they're pretty good. Same thing with Oklahoma City. Sometimes Westbrook, Kevin Durant, and James Harden aren't on the same page. Individually, they have different talents, but collectively, they're pretty strong. And the game still focuses back on being 5 people working in concert with one another. Everybody automatically assumed that we were going to be so much better when we got Rudy Gay back, you know? And I think what happened was it was an adjustment period. Zach Randolph gets hurt. He's out for 37, almost 40 games. He comes back. Mentally, he wasn't ready to get back in the starting lineup, nor physically. However, he wanted to get back in the starting lineup. And I think it kind of threw things off because physically he wasn't in shape yet, mentally wasn't right, and we never got that balance that we needed. Darrell Arthur, we missed him, and to me, we got rid of a guy that I thought could have really helped us. In this year was Gravis Vasquez. You know what? A lot of times you make moves to satisfy your coaches. Pondexter helped us. You know, Xavier Henry hadn't played for us. You know what I mean? And he had to show that he wanted to play. He went to New Orleans, had an opportunity, and did pretty well. I think the jury's still out on his effectiveness as an NBA player. You know, but Vasquez, I thought we could have used him. I think, you know what, and looking at our team, I think that, you know, before it's all said and done, we might have to make a few moves to keep us consistently at that level. You know, after a while, sometimes you can go with a group too long, you know, and I don't know if this is the case with the group that we have now, but we're going to look at some things after the draft, so we might have some things coming up.
Because this seems a very well-balanced team.
It is, you know.
Because they got to play on the inside, maybe just a lack of three-point shooting.
Well, and that's what we're going to address in the draft. We need to get a shooter.
A real shooter.
We need a shooter.
Yeah, but well, who is the go-to guy? Because, you know, without Rudy Gay 2 years ago, you know, they play...
Well, and you know what, to be honest with you, I think we play our best basketball when our focus is inside out. Play to our strength. Marc Gasol, Zach Randolph. Then you got Darrell Arthur coming off the bench. We acquired Maurice Spates when Zach got hurt, and he helped us tremendously. Really, really helped us tremendously. However, when Zach came back, he wasn't as effective coming off the bench, if you know what I mean. He's better as a starter as opposed to a role player. So all these things you got to look at moving forward. How do we do that? We need to find our balance in terms of, you know, Mark is so unselfish. We need him to shoot more. You know, we need him to shoot more. But that's not, he doesn't feel comfortable doing that. You got to have somebody when you need a point. You need a basket. With Philadelphia, it was either Lewis Williams, Andre Iguodala. Those were the guys who were going to take the last shots. You talk about Denver, okay? When healthy, who was Ty Lawson? Took the last shot. You know? Or Gallinari, or if he's healthy. You know what I mean? So those are the guys that's going to, but you have to have somebody on the floor when you need a basket.
Yeah, but to me, those kind of teams seem to work better during the regular season. When you get to the playoffs, I see some...
You still have to have a go-to.
Yeah.
You still have, when you need a basket.
At least one.
And in a close game, especially in a close game.
Closer, like it would be Brandon Roy for the Trailblazers.
Exactly, exactly. But you have to have somebody that you feel, the coaches feel confident enough to say, when you draw the play up and say, hey, we got a chance of winning the game with you.
Yeah, because I don't know, someone say that you might be predictable when you have a go-to guy because we're down the stretch and you know that guy is going to have the ball in his hands.
Right, correct. But you know what? Everybody has it. It's everybody's problem. Miami, for instance, when they come down the stretch, everybody gears up to stop Dwayne Wade because of his, perimeter shooting and his dribble penetration skills. Well, what do? They run misdirection plays to get it for somebody else. So everybody does it. But you still got to have a guy that you believe in.